Who has a 100-word summary of all the trouble you guys got into last week?
We met bird people.
Well, we were hanging out with bird people when shit went down.
Yep.
And honestly, I don't remember more than that. They want some acolytes stole a relic, and we said we'll get the relic back.
Yeah, we got the relic back.
And we got the relic back.
With no fatalities.
With no fatalities, and Windy now has like wind sense, I think it is.
I fucking hate that fact that we need to be proud of ourselves for accomplishing something with no fatalities.
You killed an air elemental.
The air elementals are not alive, and thus they cannot die.
I think reducing the air elemental to 0 HP just sends it back to its home plane.
No, it's dead. I'm the DM. It's dead now. You killed it.
Okay.
Yep.
That's okay.
Cool.
They're not. Air elementals are not people.
And then what happened?
Windy dropped me.
Alright, I tried my best. I rolled an 18.
I know, that was so... I was like, oh, cool. That was a good roll. Oh, you still fall. And then I landed and had 1 hit point left.
Rude.
I don't remember what I was saying now.
You landed. You had 1 hit point left.
Right. We had a really sad giant that I brilliantly doused with water.
Okay.
Don't overplay yourself.
We can confirm that he doused the giant with water.
Yeah, but he called it brilliant.
Whether or not it was brilliance
remains to be seen.
Right.
Anyway, this giant,
brilliant.
This
It
giant,
worked.
quote unquote, press ganged us into finding his mate.
I mean, that's wildly untrue. If anything, we press ganged him.
That's fair.
And now we're gonna find Taglith and rob him. Because we're heroes. And that's what we do.
Yeah.
It's
Hobos
just a
of-
light robbery.
Hobos of murder.
Okay.
Got him.
None of that now.
I need 1 more text file open. There we go. Now we're at 4. 4 is a good number.
Is it?
I mean, it's the necessary number. Whether or not it's good, I couldn't tell you. Oh no, I
4
need
is
1
a-
more open. That's
4 is a
5 was the
symbolic
correct
number
number.
of death.
5 is the correct number.
1 is the loneliest number.
I would like to report that I just learned that Nodal is a fraud
Okay.
today.
Well,
We always
I knew
pride
that.
Nodal on making the most creative character concepts for my games. But
Okay.
some data has come out. Somebody put together a spreadsheet on Reddit, so you know it's true. And it turns out that Monk is the most common class chosen by players who pick Aarakocra as race.
Good.
So
That,
you are playing the default Aarakocra,
Nice.
and now I'm disappointed.
That's rad, though.
parliamentary inquiry.
Okay.
Could that just not be coincidence?
Yeah,
That's
how do you know he
coincidence.
wasn't the original Aarakocra monk?
No, so
Yeah, I have to say I am a trendsetter.
this reveals Nodal to be an uncreative boob. Because he clearly looked on Reddit and saw that all the Aarakocras were monks, and he's like, oh, I guess I'll just do that.
To be clear, I did look on Reddit in the future, so I'm at least pretty good at that.
He got in his Bill and Ted phone booth time machine.
And I was like, this seems like the best use of this.
He traveled to the future, got on Reddit, stole his dad's keys, and went back.
I don't
like
even know why I
that's-
stole my dad's keys, just for crime.
I like that's the thing. Like, yeah, you have time travel ability. You would use it in the most selfish and personal way. Yeah, that sounds about right.
And McDohl is just a contrarian edgelord because the most popular Dragonborn class is Paladin, and he's playing a fighter. So clearly, he just can't play the proper Dragonborn.
I mean,
roll up this fighter instead.
You've known me for how long? Like,
Super edgelord.
yeah, like if that's not me,
Now
And-
I'm just picturing.
And there's no
Adrian-
data on the rest of you because none of you are like Nodal and McDohl are the only people playing the top 20 most played races in D&D 5e.
Nobody plays fucking Hobgoblin. I'm
Nobody-
disappointed.
Mm-mm. You're the only player who's ever rolled up a Hobgoblin.
That's so disappointing.
The spreadsheet actually said that. Had a picture of your house.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
I thought you were a half orc.
Oh my god.
Nodal. Nodal, why?
You guys befriended, well, quote unquote, befriended Dosho, the terrified and recently beaten up hill giant.
No, you can say to be friended.
I can say
'Cause we're
befriended.
definitely besties now.
You
we
guys
gave him a bath and
spent
everything.
some time trying to figure out who Big Boof was. And at first you pontificated that perhaps Big Boof was Dosho's dog. And if I remember correctly, Nodal's exact words were, if this guy took this sad giant's dog, I'm going to fucking kill him.
Yeah.
Okay. But it turns out that Big Boof is Dosho's wife, who was taken from him. And now Nodal is more ambivalent on the subject.
I'm more ambivalent on this. Well, because like you watch like a horror movie and they kill like 60 teens, and you're just like, well, sure. But they kill one dog.
I think we're all a little more ambivalent when we found out that Big Boof wasn't a dog.
That's heat.
I'm actually wondering if there's Little Boof.
I need to know when you guys are picturing a hill giant having a dog. Because when I'm picturing like a hill giant with a dog, I'm not picturing like an actual dog. I'm picturing like a horse that it treats like a dog.
No, you're already on base.
I'm
'Cause I picture,
picturing, like,
A Chihuahua.
I picture just it holding this like really tiny dog.
no, I'm just picturing like Clifford the Big Red Dog.
Like tiny, like he's holding a 200-pound pit bull in his open palm.
No, like a small dog, like small
Like
boring
Edgar.
dog.
Like a
Never
frou-frou
mind, bro.
rides around in an LA woman's purse dog.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, like Edgar style dog.
How would a hill giant care for such an animal?
I was thinking
Carefully.
sheep. if I'm
Very
being totally
carefully.
honest. I was thinking it was a sheep.
Sorry to disappoint you, but Big Boof is a hill giant.
Well, you
There's
did.
got to be a Little Boof then. I hope we get to meet Little Boof.
It could just be Boof.
So we have like Big Boof, Boof, and Little Boof?
It's the Boof family. Can't wait to see them on Family Feud.
The buffet of Boofs.
Let's meet the Boof family.
Dosho cannot go within eyeshot of the dam. He's leading you to a fortress, a stone and wooden fortress built on one of the rivers in Titan's spine. There are many, both above ground and underground, like hundreds and hundreds of little streams that crisscross back and forth through the mountains and the cliffs. And Mogdur Dam is built, this giant stone and log structure, fairly recently. along one of these streams, backing up the headwaters into a larger lake, flooding some of the areas up in the highlands. He can't go within eyeshot of this place, because if they see any of the hill giant men coming around, they will send out forces to beat them up and chase them off.
And eye shot for him is like a mile away.
He tells you that the seat at Mogder Dam is held by a massive hill giant named Flutrum Orc Eater. He's called Orc Eater because he likes to eat orcs.
What?
Huh.
Gasp.
Dosho has many opinions about why one should not eat orcs. First and foremost, they taste stinky.
What's the second?
I mean, from there, it's just a lot of jargon that you're not sure you understand.
A lot of technical terms.
Getting into, like, hill giant culture and the ordning and all that stuff.
Sure.
Flutrum is the bitch lord Taglith's most powerful hill giant vassal. And Taglith himself, being a stone giant, doesn't have many holdings above ground. Stone giants prefer to live inside and underneath mountains. And it's difficult to get any concrete information out of a creature with an intelligence stat of like 4. Especially considering that only one of you can speak to him in a language that he only speaks falteringly. What you're able to gather is that Taglith has given Flutrum control of this particular structure and has given him some kind of treasure to guard. And as it happens, Dosho has, and he points to his head a couple times, a very thinky plan for how to get in.
Alright.
He takes you to the fish mines, where some of Flutrum's goblin slaves mine for fish.
Wait, what?
No, keep going.
Each morning, some of Flutrum's slaves drag wheeled carts down the hill where the dam is situated to this giant opening in this cliff face. The carts are parked outside. Slaves working inside the mines fill the barrels on the carts up with fish. And every evening, the slaves come back, retrieve the carts, take them up the hill, back to the dam. Dosho says what you should do, because the walls of the dam are made of stone and heavy logs. They're too strong and heavy for a hill giant like him to push over and break through. But if he reaches down and picks up a rock from the ground and shows it to you all, and says many, many rocks go into barrels, making them much, much heavy. Then heavy barrels, and he points to you guys, you pick up, throw at wall, knock wall over.
Okay.
And when he sees that maybe you guys don't get it, he kind of points to the rock, and the rock, only one rock, much small, but many rock together, much big, heavy.
Oh!
Put all rocks in
okay.
barrel, pick up barrel,
And then we throw it.
is much heavy.
Yeah. Sure,
Yeah.
you got it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Birdie's biting his tongue because he's trying not to say something mean.
Birdie, the rock that he's holding in his hand as an example is much too big for you to lift. It would be impossible. If you were to put this rock on the ground, you would be able to, like, sleep on this rock. You could sit in its shade, but there's no way you could lift a barrel full of them.
Oh, man. I don't have enough alcohol for this. Oh.
Was that in character?
Yeah, why not?
Meanwhile, somewhere in the Underdark are a whole shitload of drunk kobolds.
My gear sunk in a river. What are you talking about?
You tell me they wouldn't use that soggy beer?
And he does. He brings you to a point where you can look down this this cliff face down onto this just muddy, terrible, wet road that snakes up through the mountain path. And he points out, he shows you where, about a half-mile away from your position, you can make out where these carts have been left. 3 carts, each one filled with empty barrels.
Well, that sounds like a great plan. Where should we meet you? Because if you stay too close, they'll see you.
Are we still communicating with him all through Adrex?
Yeah.
Oh, right,
Yeah.
because we got to do it through Orcish.
He speaks faltering Orcish.
Yeah. So yes, this would be, and Adrex would be translating this.
Okay. He says he'll go wait at his tower, but he'll listen very, very close for big boom when wall goes smash.
All right. Well, you listen close, buddy.
Yeah, you listen close, buddy.
And you dismiss Dosho,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and he stomps off happily, convinced that his new friends are going to take care of this for him.
Okay, that sounds close to a good plan.
Everyone
Yeah.
in favor of sneaking in?
Everyone in favor of sneaking in through those barrels.
Pretty
Yeah, I
good
was thinking
plan.
the same thing. Yeah.
Seems a little cliche.
Yeah. You know why it's cliche? It's because it always works. Just think,
So-
if it didn't, nobody would be around to tell the tale.
It's true.
Okay, so what are we doing?
What?
So we're outside of a wall,
Yeah.
and there is a wagon with barrels in it.
Right now, you're up on top of a cliff face, looking down at this muddy mountain path. About a half mile up the path, you see where these 3 large carts loaded with barrels have been left.
And those are the barrels they load with fish
That's what Dosho said.
that they mine.
They mine the fish,
Right.
and they fill the barrels up.
That's not a translation error. They mine for fish.
And then every evening, slaves from the dam come down and take the carts back up the hill.
Did you get any context from the conversation of what if the slaves were giants or orcs?
He
or...
said they were goblins.
Goblins.
Okay.
Yeah, I think this is a great plan, and we should try it.
Right now, it's about midday. So if Dosho is
Efficient.
correct, then you probably have several hours until the
I
sun
gotta say,
starts to
that
get out.
flaw is getting more sarcastic by the day, McDohl.
You better watch out or you'll just turn into Keelian again.
I remembered my flaw, and then I had to sound convincing, and I failed at the second part.
Take that charisma check again.
No, but it's probably it's not a great plan, but it's probably the best plan we have to go on right now.
Unless we can blow up the dam somehow.
Unless
But-
you're all gonna grow wings. Which, I mean, it's about time.
Like we're
I think you're getting
Adrex,
close.
that smells. Adrex, that smells. Stop doing that.
No, I think you're getting close, buddy.
so, but our current target is that we're going to rescue Big Boo from, is in a fort, right?
He's in a
Yeah.
fort that's built over this river. So Dosho was calling the structure a dam.
Okay, so it's not a dam; it's actually a fort.
It's both.
Oh,
Oh, okay.
that
'Cause
is
he
a
he
fourth
describes it as backing up the headwaters of this stream and creating a lake behind it.
I mean, breaking the dam wouldn't do anything if the fort is above the dam. Especially since we're supposed to rob these giants.
Is there something specific we're supposed to be taking, Adrex?
Yes, but we don't know what it is.
Mm-hmm.
And he didn't tell you what it is because that would make his plan work better?
I don't know. I asked, and then I got
Hey.
laughed at and told that I am delightfully hilarious.
I mean, that's fair.
Yeah.
You are delightful.
Thank you.
Mm,
I'll remember that. Thank you. It's like just you just got a telltale, like Birdie will remember that.
Raazu is a whip. She doesn't care
So-
what Birdie thinks.
So there's a fort-ish thing above the dam, right? And we've got a few hours to kill before they come for the barrels, right?
Yep, this evening the slaves are going to come down with these fish-laden barrels on these carts, take them up this muddy path, up into the hills where the dam is situated.
Well,
So-
maybe more of our scouty, stealthy types should survey what's going on in the fort before, since we've got time to kill.
Yeah, I was about to say, what does the front door of the fort look like? I mean, these are not exactly intelligent beings we're dealing with.
You don't see the fort anywhere in eyeshot. You'd have to travel further north. Dosho wouldn't take you within eyeshot of the fort. And we're talking hill giant eyeshot, so
So like
he's afraid of getting beaten up and chased off.
That's so sad.
He was a very sad giant. He's got like bags under his eyes and gray hair.
I hear that.
Mm-hmm.
Are
Doesn't
we sure
even have a little dog.
Are we sure that Big Boof just wasn't tired of his shit and left him?
You're not sure of anything.
Well, yeah.
You're not even 100% sure that Adrex has been translating his words right.
Oh, Adrex wouldn't screw that up. He would come up with something better.
If you guys are going to head north to try to scout out the dam, that's possible, but you wouldn't be able to return in time to do anything with these barrels tonight. You'd have to camp out somewhere nearby until tomorrow.
No, scouting. What?
Is there anybody near these carts now?
Right now, they just look like they've been abandoned here in the path.
We could always do something really stupid and go in the mine.
I am very curious to see how they mine for fish.
Yeah.
All
I mean,
the barrels are empty right now.
You can't tell. You're pretty far away from them right now.
Well, let's go look at the barrels
Yeah, let's
first.
go take a better look at that at least.
yeah.
Yeah.
Now, are we traveling up along this cliff face, so you're over top of them looking down, or you're actually going to climb down to the road?
Which is less harrowing.
I'll stay on the cliff face for now.
Okay.
Climb down when we get there.
I mean, I can't see anything. We're in direct sunlight.
So Birdie starts walking in the wrong direction.
It's okay, Windy will get him.
Traveling north along the cliff face to get a better look at these carts. At first, you thought the carts were very far away from you. But as you get closer, you realize that these are they're even further away than you thought, because these carts are enormous.
They're just really big cards.
Each of these carts have multiple barrels on them, but we're not just talking like a standard sized barrel. Like each of these would be like a giant decanting vat from a brewery. Like an enormous, enormous wooden barrel.
And goblins carry these things? Filled with fish.
Well, there's
No,
a
the-
cart.
Yeah.
They just bring the fish and fill them up.
And looking down right now, you see that some of the barrels do have fish in them, others do not. You can see around the side of each cart there are just little makeshift like stairs, like nothing more than just wooden planks hammered into the sides of the cart up to the top so that goblins can climb up and deposit armloads or basket loads of fish into each one. And as you watch over the course of an hour or so, you do see goblins stream out from various points in both sides of the cliff in the road, climb up the carts, dump fish and various other river creatures into them, climb back down, and disappear back into the walls.
So, Dosho's plan is for us to throw rocks, and instead what we're going to do is hide inside these barrels. And
I have
let
to
them
know how they're
transport-
mining those fish. Who's with me?
I mean,
Yeah, I'm with you. Adrex
Yeah.
is with you.
Birdie's with you.
I can't believe this. This is ridiculous.
So what have you done?
I mean, Adrex can't stealth, so.
Yeah.
I think Birdie and I are gonna have to sneak down into that cave.
Okay.
I mean, I'll go
But
with
you
you.
have the horn of silent alarm. You can at least keep an eye out for anybody coming from the outside.
Well, Red has that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Red, do you have dark vision?
Yeah, no, totally.
All right, then absolutely, yeah. The three of us, we sneak in there. We see what the haps are.
I want to see what's inside.
We'll tell you.
If there's no one there, we'll come back and bring you guys in.
Hmm.
So you
Okay.
can take off your armor.
Hmm.
And see in the dark.
Hmm.
And not sing and whistle to yourself.
Hmm. Fine, I'll stay. Plan's dumb. It's a dumb plan.
You guys climb down this cliff face, down into this muddy road. Looking at these carts, you see there's not like a bit or harness or anything attached to them. They're not pulled by beasts of burden. You just see two large, what almost look like tree trunks coming out of the front of the cart. Obviously much too huge for goblins to drag this cart forward with. And you see lots and lots of little small openings in the sides of the rock walls on either side. Go ahead and give me a stealth check from all three of you. Wendy?
18.
Red?
25.
Birdie?
21.
Okay. How are you guys being stealthy? Are you finding a hiding spot down here, or do you have some other idea?
How far away from the cart are we?
You can be as close as you want to be. Just you tell me how close you want to get.
And this area is largely like forested, or
It is up on top of the cliffs where you guys were perched a moment ago, but now that you've climbed down, you've got this muddy path. This just stony, muddy path with high cliffs on either side. There's not much in the way of foliage down here, but there's a lot of large rocks. There's a lot of openings in the sides of the walls that you could squeeze into.
How
slipping between rocks.
Okay.
Is there a adequate hiding spot like underneath the cart?
You try to hide under the cart?
Yeah.
Yes and no. If you were a giant hiding from another giant, getting under this cart would be a decent hiding spot. But you're a kobold, so I mean you don't even have to stoop. You just walk under the cart, and standing under there, you'd be in full view of any other small creatures in the area.
So I can't hide like behind a wheel or whatever?
It has the same problem.
Okay.
But your intention is to close in and get as close to these carts as possible?
Yeah, I think we gotta wait for one of them to have just dropped off some fish, and then kind of sneak in after them so we can see how close we can get. Because they seem like they're coming out kind of staggered, right?
Just every few moments you see, it's hard to catch them coming out of the walls, but you see them like climbing up onto the cart, and then you follow them. Well, I mean, you're not because of the unpleasantness, but they come back down from the cart. They head back to one of the walls, and there's just these little, what look almost like rat holes in the sides of this wall, just broken spots in the wall where they can climb in, little cave entrances here and there. Sometimes they have to climb up to reach them. Sometimes they almost have to kind of tunnel down. It looks like the inside of these walls are crisscrossed with tunnels.
Oh, so they're not going to be able to go in, but I probably could.
They could probably squeeze into one of these holes.
I will sneak into any hole that I need to. I need to know how to clean these fish.
I'd rather wait about 5 or 10 minutes and just observe how they come in and out.
Yeah.
And
if we're having a hard time seeing them, I could try to get into like a relatively hidden spot and try to sense one of them coming out.
well, you're having a very hard time seeing them.
Alright, thank you, Brickroad.
You're welcome.
I said we're.
You're actually not having a hard time seeing them at all. And after you watch for a few minutes, you identified maybe a dozen spots along the cliff face where they seem to be coming out of. And these goblins are working very haggard and very tired. And you can see that some of them have been beaten.
So they're probably not at their best sensing anyway.
Looks like they're just very focused singularly on... Some of them are just carrying just little baskets or bushels of fish. Some of them just have armloads.
They just have fish.
Coming out of the walls.
And there's so many of them.
Looking at the size of these barrels, though, these goblins working, like, there's no way over the course of one day they could fill up all of these barrels with fish. Not at the pace that they're working.
Are they putting them in a single barrel, or are they spreading them out right now?
There doesn't seem to be any rhyme or reason to it. Just whichever cart is closest to the hole they emerge from, they climb in and just dump into one of the barrels in the back.
And if I'm sitting here watching for like 10 minutes, is there any hole that notedly does not have any goblins coming out of it?
Make a perception check.
Adrex, want to play dice?
That would be a 14.
14? You do see a couple of holes that the goblins don't seem to be using, but these holes seem to be too small for goblins to enter comfortably. They're either they would have to squeeze through, or they're too high up, or they're the wrong shape. It looks like this entire section of the mountain has been sloughed away, just kind of creating lots of strange tunnels in each side of the wall. The goblins don't seem to be using all of them.
The too high up one.
Yeah, the too high up one is interesting.
Yeah, you see several holes that are just too high off the ground to be conveniently reached. That you'd have to climb too high, or there's not enough handholds, or whatever the case.
That sounds like our best entrance.
Yep.
Adrex and Raazu. Are you guys
Yes,
doing
sir.
anything to prevent being seen?
Imagine we're
It's a loaded question.
moving into the tree line
Okay.
to take cover, basically.
And noisily playing dice?
Not quite.
Not quite.
I rolled a 1, 2, 3, so
Does that mean you
Oh,
win?
yeah.
I lost.
He,
Oh, that's too bad.
he pays double.
Adrex's passive perception is a butt, yes?
Yeah.
Yeah, and Raazu's is what?
Also a butt,
Also a
like
butt.
the other cheek. It's 11.
Adrex and Raazu.
Hey,
Yeah.
You guys down at the cliff, your plan now is to wait until an opening and then climb up into one of these holes that are too high for the goblins to reach?
I mean, I think the plan is to wait for.
No, not you. The
Awesome.
guys down on the path.
Oh, sorry.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that's Red's plan.
Gotcha. Adrex and Raazu,
Yeah.
roll initiative.
Ugh.
I'm sure they'll be fine.
Perfect.
Perfect.
Uh,
He's being sarcastic, my friend.
no, I'm not. It's actually really good. It was perfect
Yeah.
because I didn't have to move it.
Yeah.
All right. Adrex, you are
Mm.
surprised. Raazu, you are surprised.
Fair.
If I could get both of you to make a strength saving throw.
I am theoretically good at these.
Theoretically.
Yep.
Every time you
Plus 3
say
of
that,
this.
It's a 22, I believe.
How'd Raazu do?
13.
13.
Yeah, 22.
You guys suddenly hear from closer to you than you expected would be possible something large and strong roar out. Something in the language that you now recognize as giantish. And one of the trees that you guys are near to as you're dicing is suddenly uprooted from the ground and falls over. Raazu, you are knocked prone.
Sure.
Take 5 points of bludgeoning damage. As you
Sure.
see 2 ogres, each bearing a great club, a horrific spiked great club, and each with a reaching onto their backs where they have what the book calls javelins, but are actually like small saplings that have been sharpened at one end. And they see you here, and they don't like that you're here.
That's rude.
Yeah.
All right, and one of them, well, they're both moving in towards you. One of them used their action to fell that tree. The other one is going to Great Club Adrex in the head.
Wish I had that potion of enlarge.
I mean, you
Damn it,
used
I
it.
used it. the
You used
wrong
it correctly. No, you used it correctly.
Adrex, I have a 19 to hit you.
time. Sure. Why not?
Eight points of bludgeoning damage as his ogre charges forth, wildly slinging his club around. Steps right over Raazu as he closes in on you. Seeing her already knocked to the ground doesn't particularly seem to think she's a threat. The other ogre, having knocked this tree over on top of her, is reaching back for javelins. That's going to bring us to Adrex's turn.
How big are we talking about? Like,
They're large creatures, so
they're large creatures?
I mean,
Okay.
Adrex, you have to crane your. If you were standing next to him, you have to crane your neck way, way up to look up at one of these things. They're big enough to uproot one of these trees.
Problem is I can't use my ability unless I've sized them up for a minute. Because I want to know how actually dangerous this is. But in the meantime, let's attack it.
Okay?
That seems like an Adrex thing you would do.
Ajax sizes him up and thinks, I can take him.
Yeah.
Gives him the ocular pat down.
That is a 15.
That hits.
15 does hit. All right. 9 damage.
9 damage. Now, are you moving or staying put?
Whoa! Like, that's the end of my turn. Come on now.
So you're not moving?
No, I'm not moving yet.
Okay.
Damn.
Yeah.
They're all strength saving throws, though. Yeah, let's, he needs to make a strength saving throw, please.
22.
Yeah, that passes, but he still takes another 4 damage.
Okay.
It was worth a shot.
There's a
Second
dude-
attack.
oh, sorry.
There's a what? Go ahead.
There's a dude in my Stormlords campaign who knocks over a lot of giants.
That is a 22.
We'll hit.
Will hit. for 9 damage again.
For 9 damage?
Yeah.
Okay.
And Adrex turns to Raazu and says, methinks we should probably run. And stays put.
Okay. Raazu, you're laying prone on the ground, and these guys have super big clubs with lots of sticky, spiky parts. And it's your turn.
Raazu.
He's given up. He's like, I got knocked over by a tree. That's it for me. End of campaign.
I'm sorry. My microphone was muted. I apologize. Half my movement to stand up. Are they both within 30 feet of me?
Yes.
Please to be making a wisdom saving throw. DC 14.
Wait. All right.
DC 14.
Yeah.
I have a 1
Okay.
and a 9.
They're both afraid of me for 1 minute.
Okay.
Raazu shouts out in Hobgoblin some kind of crazy war chant, brandishing her halberd.
And they do. They look terrified, and you smell ogre poop.
Well, we already smoked that.
Is that it?
That's the end of Raazu's turn.
Okay.
They get to repeat that save at the end of each of their turns.
Is there any additional effect of fear, or is it just standard boilerplate fear?
Frightened creatures can make a saving throw. Let me double check my class feature.
They can't move any closer to you, and they have disadvantage as long as they can see you.
Yeah.
Okay. Adrex, you see these two ogres respond to Raazu's war chant just with terror. They're absolutely terrified. One of them, the one standing next to you, turns to the one that knocked over this tree and shouts something in kind of squeaky, broken, giantish. And you see the one that was recently going for a javelin pulls out a war horn instead. The one standing over you still gonna pound you like a nail, though.
Alright.
Ooh, I rolled this 1. I guess it wouldn't be okay to lie and say it was something bigger. Alright. And the one that's standing a few feet away from Raazu, who is about to start whipping javelins at her, starts backing away slowly as he puts this war horn and starts blowing, and this loud, bellowing sound starts to encompass the entire cliff face.
Would you like us to roll for initiative?
No, don't roll for initiative.
You got it.
Yeah. That's going to bring us back to Adrex.
Yeah. No, let's take an action to disengage
Okay.
and run like the Dickens.
Run where?
Ah, shit. Probably towards where Birdie and crew went.
Well, they climb down the cliff face.
They climbed down the cliff.
Yes, they climb down to the path and then move towards the cart. And then they kind of vanish from sight because they were all hiding and watching goblins for a little while.
But isn't there a path that also goes all the way down the side of the cliff face?
Nope, they climb down.
You have to climb down.
You don't have to. You could run back into the woods.
Where they just blew the horn?
Yeah.
That seems like a terrible idea.
You can chase that guy.
Adrex level idea.
I guess that would be kind of Adrex-ish, but no.
Adrex, there is a non-zero chance that you could do a flying leap from this cliff and land in a soft barrel filled with fish and not break any bones. It's a long drop, but it's a nice soft.
What is the percent? What is the percentage?
Can't tell you that.
Okay. And how far is this drop?
It's a good 60, 70 feet.
So that's 6d10 or whatever. Yeah, no.
You can take it.
Wish
Only
I had
D6s.
So your
Um,
options are start climbing down the cliff towards the path, or run along the cliff top in one direction or the other, or run back into the woods.
Let's run along the cliff edge then, in the opposite direction, getting as much distance away from these giants as possible.
Okay. Raazu, the two
I don't
ogres.
think the two of us can take two ogres who have probably just called more.
Yeah.
The two ogres standing here still look very, very terrified of you.
That's good. That's good.
And Raazu, you're not in anybody's threat range. What do?
Then
It's your turn.
I will move 60 feet in the same direction as Adrex.
Okay. And is that your intention? Is to break away from these ogres and run away from them?
Yeah.
You hear the horn sound a couple more times back as you're fleeing the scene. Once or twice you hear the crash and crackle of another tree coming down. How far do you guys run?
I'd say
I'd run
honestly
into-
it's the crazy one decision, but I think it's the one that's the most awesome. I think we should take a dive into the fish barrels.
Yeah,
Squeeze
that
it
sounds like a
in.
great idea. Let's do it. We're doing it.
So Raazu,
Alright, you can't
I'm
get
in.
twice.
What's that? What's that, Burker?
so you're going to run towards the carts?
Yeah.
Okay. And yeah, after a minute or two, you are looking down and you see these giant barrels, some of which are filled part of the way up with fish. You hear the
Alright.
horn sounding and some of the trees coming down back in the woods behind you.
Cowabunga! What do I need to roll?
Down we go.
You jumping in?
Yep.
Yeah. This is gonna suck.
Or either
Oh,
you
you're
train in acrobatics.
Nope.
Adrex?
No.
Okay.
It's more of an athletic jump.
9
Yeah.
points each of bludgeoning damage as you leap and land hard in this. What is apparent to you now is a very disgusting barrel filled with fish and other slimy river creatures.
That's not that bad.
Pond scum lines the inside of these slick, moldy barrels. And the rest of you guys very quietly climb up to one of these high holes. Squeeze your way into this hole. Red and Windy, both of you do have to squeeze. It's a small-sized hole.
Okay.
With kind of jagged edges, so you may take extra care that you don't bang your elbows or whack your head on anything. And as soon as you get in, you start hearing the sounds of echoing water that seem to come from all sides of you. And following in, what you find is that one of the overland streams that you crossed earlier in the day when Dosha was bringing you up here meets with some kind of underwater or underground brook that seems to come up from deep inside the mountains. And you find a vantage point where you see a lot of goblins congregating. You can see where they have little campfires going. You can also see where they have much larger creatures watching over them, predominantly ogres, but you also see a few very burly-looking orcs as well, each armed with massive longbows. And you see dozens or so goblins camped inside the cavern here. And they're going down to the water, and they're trawling nets. Some of them are casting lines. Some of them are just wading out with their arms and trying to grab at creatures. Some of them are dredging through the mud. And they're piling up fish along the shores and carrying them out in baskets and bushels.
So Birdie tells Wendy that they're mining for fish. They're using picks and stuff.
Wendy, you hear no sounds of picks hitting stone at all.
Yeah. Also, I'm not an idiot. So Wendy starts quizzing Birdie on like what kind of picks, like how big they are. Like, is it big for them? Are they like spearing the fish?
They're like little teeny tiny picks, and they appear to be made out of rock.
Uh huh.
I'm
How
just
they
gonna...
pick the rocks without picks to begin with? Like, where was the first pick?
I don't know.
Because otherwise, how would they get the rock to make the pick, Birdie?
Right, this conversation is happening.
Yeah. Red's already, now that he's, gotten enough information, he's already climbing his way back out the tunnel.
As you guys are sitting there talking about picks, you hear the sound of a horn bellowing, being blown by something enormous high above you. The sound of it, the bass of it, is resounding through the rocks. And when that happens, a lot of these orcs start standing at attention. Several of them knock their bows. They all start trailing south of you. Most of the goblins, the ones that are carrying fish out, stay put and look around nervously. And these orcs start trailing off to the south.
South being...
Can I maneuver inside this cavern to a point where I'm above and behind the orcs that are leaving?
You can, but you'd have to move really fast because they're. It sounds like they've heard this.
Hopefully that's enough noise that I don't need to be too quiet.
So you're not going to be stealthy. You're just going to try to shadow them.
No. I mean, I'm okay with being around behind them, so I will be stealthy.
Okay, just moving stealthily means you're moving at half speed.
Right.
Okay. What is Wendy?
But cutting action dash every round means I'm moving at, speed.
What are Wendy and Birdie doing?
I mean,
I'm gonna try to like stealth after him, but I'm not gonna be trying to move at full speed.
Okay.
I'm already probably moving pretty close to full speed, just because I am who I am.
Birdie?
Can we actually see where can I get a shot on the orcs from where I'm at?
Yeah, you can absolutely shoot them from where you're at. Would you like to roll initiative?
No,
Okay.
I just don't want to move. But I'm ready to shoot. I will hold an action to shoot whatever orc Red shoots if he decides to do so.
Red and Wendy, go ahead and let's get some stealth checks.
Said 29.
That is a 17.
Red, what is your passive insight?
Passive insight is, I believe, 20, but let me double check.
Okay.
Tab. Other tab. So many tabs. 19.
You guys hop down to this muddy floor, taking a special care to stay out of the torchlight. The light being cast by some of these campfires built by goblins. Taking advantage of the noise and the commotion as these orcs, probably 8 or 10 of them, are moving swiftly off to the south, and you see where they round a corner to this sharp incline. Then you hear an argument for a moment. Some words are exchanged in the giant tongue. You hear the sound of a stone moving, something being ground out of the way, and the orcs are filing out of an entrance in the stone wall that was blocked up by this boulder. The two ogres that they were arguing with to move the boulder start moving it back into place after they're gone.
Is there a convenient crack in the rock anywhere to slip through around here?
You mean to get back outside?
Yeah.
One of the little goblin holes?
Yep.
Yeah, it probably wouldn't take longer than a minute or so to back up to the wall and find such an entrance.
Yeah. Slip back up there then.
What's Wendy doing?
I honestly think that's our best option. Like, at this point, I think we've gotten what we're going to get out of this cave.
Okay. You guys slip out, and you see these orcs on the muddy path. Half of them are going south, away from the carts. Half of them are heading north, towards the carts. You see they're spreading out, and they're scanning the cliff tops on both sides with bows and arrows.
Do we see Adrex or Raazu anywhere?
No.
Yeah, I'm just literally laying at the edge of my little hole, just peering
Yeah.
out as best as I can.
I think staying here until we see stuff either start going astray or we can figure out a way back to where we left the others is our best option. Because, like, if a bunch of orcs start going off, maybe one of us follows them, but otherwise, let's just stay here.
So you stay put and watch the commotion for a few minutes?
Yeah.
Okay. And Birdie, you're staying in your position inside the cavern?
No, I went back out the original hole we were in, so I'm not with the two of them, but I'm in that other hole where we climbed up to.
Oh,
looking
what's
out.
your passive perception?
My passive perception is... I mean, it's 19.
Okay.
Oh, actually, it's 20 now, but... No, it's still 19, but I have disadvantage because of direct sunlight.
For sight,
Which
right?
is -5 for passive.
For sight, yes?
Yes.
Okay. So you climb back up to your original hole, and the blinding light is there to greet you. You're like, oh, the sun. I can't wait to kill you someday. And the hole you climbed into is pretty near to these carts, and you hear a loud splat sound, following by what sounds like a Dragonborn grunting in pain. Coming from inside one of the barrels sitting on the back of this cart.
I mean, do the orcs notice this?
No, there's so much commotion right now. You've got the sound of a horn bellowing up on top. You've got the orcs marching in either direction. At this point, half of this line of orcs checking over these carts to make sure that they're not moving, but they're not doing a very thorough job of it. They're
Can I see
it...
red?
Is Red trying to be stealthy? Red and windy?
Yeah, I've got a 29 on my stealth.
Yeah, no, you're passive. Sorry, but no. Not in bright light, not with...